and health coaching. All right. So if you found yourself wondering how much protein it is that you should be having for your body type, then what are these clues that I talk about? Well, if you are looking at your body from a hormonal perspective, right? If you know that your body is smart and that there's a lot going on internally, then there are definitely clues that'll be presenting itself on the outside as to what's going on the inside. So yesterday we covered how much protein you could actually handle at one time, and we found out that the maximum amount of protein that your liver could digest, could break down and actually utilize was 50 protein grams. And the example I gave would be about 200 weighted grams of steak. Okay, so 200 weighted grams of steak is about 50 grams of actual protein. All right, and that's the maximum that your liver could actually handle, that it could break down, that your body could actually utilize. But that was very dependent on whether the liver was healthy. And if it is healthy, then that's okay. But for most of you, if you have excess body fat to lose, if that is a big part of your health journey, and if that's the main reason that you listen to me, then listen to me now. Your liver is unlikely to be in good sorts, all right? It definitely has room for improvement. And so the last thing you want to be doing is loading it with protein. So there will be different areas of your body that are predominantly carrying fat, okay? So because I can't see you and I don't know what you look like or how you distribute your fat, I'm going to do my best today to separate the different bodies into three shapes, okay, and I'm going to give you those clues, and then I want you to listen to those clues and try and identify with which body shape, with which body type that you are. Okay, so the first body type stores fat globally. Okay, so you don't really store fat in any one particular area. It's in the arms and the back, underneath your neck and your face, around your stomach, up underneath the bust, and on your legs, your thighs, your butt. It's everywhere. So you don't really store fat in any one particular area. You kind of just store fat globally. And when you put body fat on, it comes on in that same way globally. Now, don't think about which is the most annoying to you. Just look at your body as a whole, and look at the way that you distribute fat. Another symptom is if you have a slow metabolism. All right. So if you have a slow metabolism, if you feel that everything is on the go slow, including your energy. All right. If you know or if you suspect that your thyroid is underactive or just a little bit sluggish. Okay. So underactive is something diagnosed. But if you suspect that you have problems with your thyroid and it's undiagnosed, then we're going to call that sluggish. All right. If you know or suspect that your liver is under a bit of stress, if you're a guy, if you have a pot belly, all right. So not a hanging or a saggy belly, guys. I'm talking about a firm kind of roundness of a shape, and that we would call it a pot belly. For women, a roll underneath the bust. Okay, so there's a distinguishing difference there. If you're a guy, the roundness of the belly. If you're a lady, underneath the bust, do you have a roll? Now, if you can identify with those symptoms or those triggers, those features, then how you need to do protein is no more than 35 grams to come from animals. Okay, so protein from animal sources, no more than 35 grams. Now, when I give my recommendation, I'm not talking about weighted grams. I'm talking about 35 grams of protein. All right. So the example that I gave yesterday, if you caught that, was if we were talking steak, then 100 grams of steak, which is the equivalent to about a palm size, would be 23 to 25 protein grams. Okay, so the maximum that you want to have coming from animal sources is 35 grams. If you can identify with that, the rest needs to be coming from vegetarian sources. And the key concept here to understand is the liver. All right, if you can identify with those, then your liver is under some serious stress. Now, I'm not saying that larger amounts of protein will not work. But what I am saying is that if you want results, if you want your body to start accessing stubborn body fat, and if you want your body to start to actually be able to recover so that you can maintain your body fat, if you want to keep getting results and not just start off with getting results and then plateau, then this is the recommendation I make for you with protein. Okay, the next bunch of clues for a different kind of body shape. Okay, so here are the clues. If you store body fat predominantly around your waist, okay, around your midsection, if you find that you are quite flighty, okay, so if throughout the day you find that you're here, there, and everywhere, and you feel a little bit wired, okay, so even if you're a little bit tired, but you feel a little bit wired, okay, so a bit flighty. If you suffer from anxiety, if you have problems with your sleep, okay, if you have a very unrestful sleep, or if at the end of the day you crash out, all right, or if you wake up in the morning and you know for sure that you just didn't get into deep sleep. If you suspect adrenal fatigue, okay, so if you're suspecting adrenal fatigue, then these are the recommendations that you need to follow in terms of protein. So you're going to need approximately 50 to 75 grams of protein, but the key thing here is that it's spread throughout the day. Okay, so a big problem with this body shape, right, is that it's a sign that the adrenals are actually in trouble, and the adrenals are overworking. Okay, and so when they overwork, they produce quite a lot of stress hormone, and this environment in the body is very catabolic, right? So that means that there's a lot of muscle wastage going on. And so because the body is breaking down proteins, your body's proteins predominantly from the muscle, like from the glutes and the legs, because that's where your biggest muscles are. If you find that there has been muscle wastage there, it's because cortisol gets so high in the blood. And so what you want to do is you want to be able to spread that protein out throughout the day in order to dietary-wise replace some of that protein, so that your body can be breaking down the protein you're eating rather than breaking down your actual muscle. Okay, so it's about spreading that protein across the board into your small meals. Now you might be wondering how it is that you do that. Look, tomorrow what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some examples for each of those types on how to on the best types of proteins for you to have, okay, and some tips and ideas on how you can put those together according to the recommendations that I gave. Okay, so the last body shape, if you don't identify with those two, this body shape is very curvy. Okay, so you sit a little bit leaner in the upper half of your body, but you definitely are storing your fat in the lower half. Okay, so around your hips, your buttocks, your thighs, you really are storing quite a cellulite fat. You're bottom heavy. Okay, if you can identify with this body shape, keep listening. If you've got problems with your menstrual cycle, so if it is, I'm not talking about, I haven't got a problem because everyone has this problem. I'm talking about, can you relate to these symptoms like PMS? I know it's very, very common, but you got to understand it's not normal. All right, so this is a sign that your body is trying to communicate to you. So do you have PMS? Are you using a hormonal form of contraceptive? Have you got any conditions like endometriosis or polycystic ovaries or any type of cyst or growth, or have you had any problems with fertility? All right, so it can be as great as that, or it can be as little as PMS, or and included with that body shape, or having irregular menstrual cycles. All right, if you are irregular with your menstrual cycle, this is still a symptom you want to include into this recommendation. All right, so those are the clues. So what you want to make sure you do is look that the protein recommendation is the same as the one that I just gave before. It's 50 to 75 grams for you as well. But there are some key differences that you want to just take note of. The first one is that you want to make sure that you don't slack on the vegetables, particularly the bitter greens. Okay, so you want to make sure that you don't slack on the bitter greens like spinach, kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, any kind of sprout, anything green, all right, this body type really needs assistance in this area. It will help with the breakdown of the protein. Okay, specifically with protein, what you want to do is you want to try and, as much as possible, stay away from things with excessive hormones. Okay, so you want to opt for the proteins that are free range, grass-fed, which we are fortunate with living in New Zealand, wild caught, so fish, and same with the eggs, free range. Okay, so those are that's important for this body type because you already make too much estrogen or have problems excreting estrogen out of the body, and so those placing quite an importance on free range and organic and that there when it comes to the animal sources of protein so important because your body will mimic estrogen with these hormones. Now, I'm not saying that the other body types won't benefit from going free range or eating organic when it comes to animal products. I'm not saying they won't benefit, but those body types don't have as much of a problem with estrogen mimicking, but you do. Okay, so this is one of those things where if you can relate to a lot of those symptoms, then that's the recommendation that I want you to take when it comes to the types of protein. So when I give the recommendation 50 to 75, you might be wondering, how do I know whether it's closer to 75 or closer to 50? Look, it really does depend on your exercise. Okay, so if you have a modest exercise program or a high exercise program, then you're going to be leaning much more towards that 75 grams. It's basically an extra meal of protein that you would be having. Okay, so those are my recommendations. That's the message for today. I hope that you really got some value from that. Just so that you know about Periscope, for 24 hours the video is stored and is able to be replayed. So if you're watching this morning on the go and you want to go back and listen to the replay, it'll store for 24 hours. If you hold your finger down on the screen, you can fast forward or rewind to whichever body type it was that you could relate to. So that's the disclaimer that I just wanted to make, which I started to touch on before, is that, look, I'm not saying that these are the only recommendations that are going to work for you, but if you consider, if you're considering hormone health, all right, if you know that you've tried other things before and they just have not given you your best result, all right, if you know that you've got stubborn body fat, then considering your hormones will really take you so much further in terms of the result. Okay, so these are the best recommendations if you are considering your hormones, all right, which I wish I knew about when I was in my 20s. For sure, my results would have been, through the roof. So if you really are looking at it from a health and hormone perspective, then this is what is going to give you your best result. All right, it's not going to give you your only result, but it'll give you your best result. So if that's what you're after, then those are my recommendations. Because I've had to give, I really thought about what are going to be the best clues for you to be able to identify with. But if you're having a bit of trouble, right, and you want to run some things over with me, you can actually reach out to me. You can do that through my website, which is generationhealth.co.nz. That's www.generationhealth.co.nz. Just hit the contact us and they'll come straight into my inbox, and I'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. So just so that you know, the consultations they offer, you'll see there on the website, I offer a free consultation. Okay, so if you wanted to have a chat to me and actually have me help you identify which of those body types you are, then that's the best way to do that. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I really hope you got some value from that. See you tomorrow morning, New Zealand time, 8 a.m. Have a fantastic day.